They say the first whisper of a disaster is always ignored. It arrives quietly, buried in a stack of reports, tucked inside a late-night email no one reads, or spoken softly by a doctor who knows what's coming, but isn't ready to say it out loud. This is the story of one man, a doctor, who held the truth about a pandemic in his hands, then chose to hide it. And the world paid the price. His name was Dr. Jian Wu. To his colleagues, he was brilliant, respected, meticulous, the kind of physician who still believed medicine was about saving lives, not making headlines. It was late autumn when he noticed something strange. Patients arriving at his hospital in rapid succession, fevers climbing off the charts, lungs that looked different, damaged in ways he hadn't seen before. At first, it was only a handful, then dozens. A pattern was forming, the kind you couldn't ignore. But here's the thing about patterns. You see them before anyone else does, and that means, for a brief moment, you're the only one who knows what they might mean. Dr. Wu filed his first internal report on a Wednesday. It didn't leave his computer. Why? Because in his country, speaking up carried consequences. Hospitals relied on funding, careers were fragile, and governments didn't like surprises. So he waited, for confirmation, for permission, maybe even for courage. Meanwhile, patients kept coming. There's a moment in every crisis where the truth and the silence balance on a knife's edge. Dr. Wu stood right there, watching it tilt. By December, the virus was moving faster than the bureaucracy. Families fell sick. Travelers carried it across borders. Inside the hospital, some staff began whispering, "Why hasn't anyone said anything?" Outside, life went on as if nothing was wrong. Christmas lights, markets, airports full of people hugging their loved ones, just weeks before the world shut down. The doctor who could have warned them stayed silent. When the first news finally broke, it wasn't from the government. It wasn't even from Dr. Wu. It came from a blurry photo on social media, a leaked message, a rumor that spiraled until it reached foreign journalists. By then, it was too late. Flights had left, borders were open, and a chain of transmission was already rewriting history. Dr. Wu watched the panic rise like floodwater, and in interviews years later, he would admit the truth. He wished he had spoken sooner. But here's the question everyone asks. Why didn't he? Some blame fear, some blame politics. Others point to the very human instinct to delay disaster, hoping maybe it will just go away. Psychologists call it normalcy bias. Our brains are wired to believe tomorrow will look like yesterday, even when the evidence screams otherwise. Maybe Dr. Wu wasn't a villain. Maybe he was just human. By spring, the world had counted its dead in the millions. Economies collapsed. Families grieved. History bent in ways we're still living with. All because, in those early days, one man, one hospital, one country stayed silent. But here's the twist. Later studies showed that even if Dr. Wu had sounded the alarm the very first day, it might not have changed much. Global systems were too slow. Warnings too political. The machine of the modern world wasn't built to stop, even when it needed to. So maybe the tragedy wasn't just about one doctor's silence. Maybe it was about all of us. Today, Dr. Wu lives quietly. No interviews, no speeches, just a man haunted by what-ifs. He once told a colleague, "The hardest part isn't the blame. It's knowing what I saw and imagining what might have been different." There's a weight to that kind of memory. The weight of a moment when history could have turned, but didn't. And maybe that's the real lesson here. Not about one man or one pandemic, but about how fragile our systems are. How silence spreads faster than truth, and how disasters rarely start with a bang. They begin quietly, with a single choice, a single voice, or the lack of one. The next time, will we listen sooner? Because somewhere, right now, the first whisper of the next disaster has already begun.